Hello, and welcome to the Lucy Liu Show, the fueling station for your mind, business, and life. And now, here's your host, Lucy Liu.
Hello, beautiful souls. Sending you all the positive vibes you can possibly receive. This weekend marks the beginning of the new year on the Chinese calendar. It is the year of the rat, and again, Happy New Year, and wishing you all the wealth, prosperity, happiness, mindfulness. You can have it all. Today on the show, I have a special guest, Savanna Hamilton. She is more well known as the Wild Savanna. She is the host of her podcast, Wild Within, and I was very honored to be featured in her podcast on episode 40, How to Live Your Best Life Confidently with Lucy Liu. So check it out. Savanna is a success coach, mindset master, motivational speaker, spiritual rebel, and she also hosts international retreats. She is all about inspiring women to live untamed and unapologetic lives. Enjoy our conversation. Thank you so much for being here, Savanna.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lucy. I'm so excited.
I love it that we're like into the same work and we love helping other women. We're like all about women empowerment, right? So throughout these years in your own personal development journey, what's the most important thing that you've learned in your life?
Oh, thank you for this beautiful question. I love each time I get on a podcast because it is with other coaches. Like you're saying, we're both in the same empowerment world. And then it just reminds me to have a little deeper self-reflection. So this is a great one. And I want to say for me, the most important thing has been to honestly just get out of my own way, right? And because we have so many limiting beliefs and blocks. And what's really been interesting, especially as I've, progressed in my journey, is that all of these blocks, if I really sit and think about it, have all been self-imposed, right? So me thinking that I couldn't leave my job or be a coach or be successful. No one was telling me those things except for myself.
Absolutely. And I know you talk a lot about wealth consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's very relating to what you just talked about. Tell us more about wealth consciousness.
Yeah. Oh, this has been something I'm really diving into a lot recently. And that's because as I have interviewed people and people are reaching out to me, so many women have this limited mindset on wealth, and myself included, in that could I be successful on my own? Could I replace my 6-figure job as a nurse practitioner and become a successful online coach? Could I actually, make a living on my own? And a lot of what we have to realize is that a lot of the beliefs from our own wealth and what we can make and kind of our money mindset comes from our parents. And so we say we want to be rich, wealthy, we want to have financial freedom, but really if we're living in the mindset of what our parents told us, then we have to really kind of sit down and gain clarity on that. Because if you think about where you want to be and where your parents are right now, does that actually line up with your belief systems, right? So for me, for instance, I grew up, my family was blue collar. My parents actually went through bankruptcy. That we were always like shopping on clearance. It was always kind of, you could find it cheaper if you like looked yourself, versus actually saying, I'm worthy of this. I don't have to buy something on sale or on clearance. And so for me, as I'm trying to dive in on my own business, right? Imagine I want to be successful. I want to own my own business as an entrepreneur, but I have these beliefs telling me that I can never invest in something full price. I can never, or everything can be easier if I do it all myself. Well, becoming a successful entrepreneur, you can't do it all yourself, number one. And you have to take leaps of faith and not kind of DIYing it, like doing it all yourself. I had to take the leap of faith and realize that I wasn't going to find a business coach on clearance, right? Like I had to pay full price for that. And that really was I had to get real and honest with myself and once again break through these self-imposed limiting beliefs.
A lot of times our parents don't get what we're doing anyways,
Right.
nowadays. How would your parents describe what you do for a living now?
Oh,
Do,
such a good question. I think, well, they tell me I'm wild Savannah. I've always been this wild child, but they understand. So I host international women's retreats. They know that I am jumping into the self-development entrepreneur world, but I don't think they fully grasp. My mom is actually coming to a retreat. This is my third retreat this year, but it's very, in their day and age, my parents are 50. This wasn't like feeling your feelings and being the best version of yourself was something that it wasn't ever talked about. And my dad, he's 70, so he grew up in the depression. So he's definitely doesn't really understand that investing in yourself, hiring coaches, he's just like, you put your head down and you work, work, work. And they're supportive, but they definitely, and they've always been so supportive in anything I do, but I mean, as any parent, they want the best for me. But when I was telling them, hey guys, listen, I went to school for 6 years. I have $100,000 in student debt. I got my master's. I'm almost practically a doctor as a nurse practitioner, but I'm going to leave all that and just do this old self-development thing. They definitely were like, Savannah, are you sure? Are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? So it's taken some time for them to warm up to being like, okay, I think this is okay.
Oh, girlfriend, I totally feel you because I went to university with an economics degree and I was going into finance. So I interned at like all the finance institutes and I did not go into that either. So our parents, in the end, they just want us happy. They honestly have no idea what I'm doing. They don't get podcasts was not in their vocab back then, but they don't really get it. But they want us happy. So a lot of times, our parents are not aligned with what we want to do, but you got to show them your difference. You got to show them your transformation. What are you doing to make a difference in your own life? They see you as a better person, then that's what they will agree on. They want a better you.
Yeah. And that's my parents. I believe they're, like I said, they've been so supportive. So they're like, whatever makes you happy,
Exactly.
We hope that you're doing the right choice.
So what's one thing you wish you had known when you began?
Oh, so many. One thing is just to believe in myself, right? I think as many of us begin this journey and even just in my own self-development journey, like I have everything inside me to be as successful as I want to be, to have the love that I want to have, to find the happiness that I've been searching for. It all already resides in me. So I am so much more powerful than I ever knew. And just turning in and coming to home again and remembering like my power and that I have everything already inside me.
Absolutely. Your well of wisdom is already there.
Mm.
Maybe there's some bushes covering it up, but you've got to discover it and you got to believe it's there.
Yeah, I like that well of wisdom. I'm going to use that.
So, what are some best resources that helped you along the way?
Yeah, so many. I mean, when I started this, it was, as we talk about money mindset. So in the beginning, hiring a coach, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. And I remember investing in my first, it was just a digital course and it was $300. And I thought that was so scary, but I think we all have to start somewhere. And if that's with the freebies. So I just started delving into books. And right now I always have a book on audio. I always have a paperback. I kind of an old school. I love to, like, that's me time is sitting and reading. So reading, I think, is a beautiful source. And then so many of us coaches have freebies out there. Literally you could spend a whole year going through all these freebies and they really are. I think a lot of the times people just overlook them and they're just like, oh, I don't want to sign up for another email. But really, I know in my freebies, and I'm sure this is the same for you, I put so much value in that. And it's really to be the stepping stone for someone to kind of just get traction under their feet. So look, be resourceful. I think it's Tony Robbins. He says it's not a lack of resources that people have. It's a lack of resourcefulness. So if you are sitting and you're like, oh, I don't have any money to get a coach, coach. Oh, that would be great if I could go on a retreat. Oh, I want to do this course, but I don't have money. Like, get resourceful and go to all the people that you find inspirational, download their freebies. And actually, I think you touched on this in my podcast where you said, actually do it. Actually take the step and take the time. Don't just consume, but you have to actually do the steps that are listed in there. And I've been guilty of this myself where I'm just consuming, but that actually comes from a place of lack and a place of scarcity because we think the more we like consume, the faster we'll get to where we're going. But if you shift that and know that you already have everything inside you and you take the time, you slow down, you're not like on a hamster wheel and actually implement those changes, then you're going to find what you've been seeking, right? Versus just kind of reading through book or doing through freebie and not doing any of the work. You have to actually do the work.
I think that comes along with why we need to invest in ourselves, because when you actually invest in yourself, that's when you push yourself to actually do the work and get it done.
Yes.
To really take that action full throttle.
Yeah. And that's so, I will never not have a coach again, if that makes sense. So when I mentioned my first course was $300 and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so scary. I can't do this. And I have, like I said, been breaking my money blocks. My first coach that I hired was $5,000. My next coach that I hired, and I'll actually have her for a year, was $25,000 for the whole year, which is so scary, but I know that I'm worthy of that. And I know that I think it's really important to see when we're investing in ourselves to understand it's not like typical 9-to-5 work. The transaction is like for time. So you're not doing it for time, but you're actually looking at the value of the transformation that you're getting. And I know that the value I'm going to be receiving from my coach is greater than $25,000, for a whole year. So the transaction, yes, for me, it's like the accountability I need in a coach. And what my coach told me is that transformation begins with the transaction. And I've taken that with me for forever now, because every time I invest in myself, every time I put the money out there, and I think we have to understand as we develop our wealth consciousness is that money is actually just an exchange of energy and in exchange for the value that you put out into the world or that you're gaining from other people. And when you look at it like that, then it doesn't become this like monetary that you're like, oh my God, this is so scary, but it's a value, it's energy, it's the flow. Money is meant to be like a flow of energy all the time. And that allows you to be like, okay, this is just an exchange of energy and an exchange of value. And if I want the transformation, like you were saying, if I'm really dedicated to changing, I'm not just consuming all these freebies, because I do think there comes a point in time where you're like, okay, like I can't just do all these freebies. If I'm serious about changing, if I'm serious about transforming, or I know you work with a lot of women that are in this transformation period. If I'm really serious, then you have to have that transaction and that monetary investment to hold yourself accountable.
Absolutely. So how do you reset your own mindset, right? You are a mindset, your coach, but when you are in need, what's your best tool?
Yeah. So for me, the one thing that I love is meditation. I do meditation every morning, and I really encourage my clients to do it as well. I work with a lot of high performing, high achieving women that are used to doing it all. We're very much in our masculine energy. So we're in our heads more than we are in our body. And I'm guilty of just getting on autopilot and like hitting the floor with my feet running, right? I'm like, I'm ready to do this. Let's do it. But it's so important. And I struggle with this. I'll be completely like transparent and vulnerable. There's days where I just get out of bed and I'm like, oh my God, I got so much on my plate. I have to do this. But it's so important to carve out time to reconnect with your body and reset our mind. And meditation has been the one thing that I'm able to consistently do. I know there's, other tools like journaling, but for me, it's the meditation, because then I'm able to see my thought kind of just pass by and be an observer of them and drop into my body. And that's where we get the mind, body, spirit connection versus just running around from my head.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I do both. I meditate and I journal as well daily. So
good.
Yes, got it. If you're not doing it, give it a try. You won't regret it. Savanna, what's your favorite quote?
I love this. So I love this question. I know you've been on my podcast and I ask people their favorite books, and I love this. My favorite quote, and I actually took the time this morning and I remember on when I was just starting my journey. And I think so many of us think that we don't matter or we're in this doing it alone. And I remember my first vision board. I'm really big on doing vision boards. And I had this quote and it was just when I was starting into my coaching practice, and it's from the Dalai Lama. And he says, just as the ripple spreads out when a single pebble is dropped in the water, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching effect. And why that means so much to me is because as a coach, I know that the work I do, it might seem so self-involved, but the power that the effects that it's leaving on other people, right? So through each person I touch, from us having this conversation, from me supporting other women in their journey, they're going back to their homes and then they're able to spread it. I just see them like as a little, pebble dropping in the water. And then there's effects like it's transforming their family and their children. And this effects will last for generations. And the same as people who come to our retreats, we're working on the individual there, but then to see these women as they go home, as they're an inspiration to their community and what they are doing following, now I feel like we're all little pebbles, just like dropping and having ripples throughout the world. And I think that we're coming to a time into the world where we're shifting our consciousness, right? We're becoming more awake, and the world as a whole is becoming more conscious. And I believe that it's my purpose and what I was put on this world to do is to help people become more awakened individuals.
Amazing. I love that. I am so glad we met on this earth. Where can our listeners connect with you online?
Yes. So I am across all social media platforms as well. On Instagram, I'm at the.wild_Savanna. My website is www.wild-savannah.com. And if you head to my website, I do have a freebie for everybody looking to gobble up all the freebies right now. And it is 5 tools that you're not using that other people are that are keeping you from thriving. So it touch bases on the meditation, on the journaling, a lot of the tools that we as high performing women, as women that are in their masculine mindset, or women that are the go-getters of the world, we don't take time to connect to our body. And it gives you 5 simple tools that can be completed in like 30 minutes of your day, and really a lot of journal prompts that allow you to dive deeper into discovering who you are, the truth of who you are, and your core values, I would say, and then allowing you some daily practices, because I love simple, applicable tools that people can take home with them, but really can be kind of like the catalyst for transforming your lives and a good stepping stone for everybody.
Thank you very much again for sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh my goodness, it has been a pleasure. I'm so happy that we connected. I'm so looking forward to future collabs with you. And I'm so excited that you're here locally by me. It's so often that I meet women all over the world and I'm like, oh, but we're so far away, but we're so close.
Yes, let's go grab coffee.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love that.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks so much, girl.
To all the beautiful souls listening, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Lucy Liu Show. When I'm not podcasting, I am coaching high-achieving women in life transitions, getting unstuck, kissing overwhelm goodbye, and living a more joyful and fulfilled life through strategic goal setting and mindset transformation. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe, rate, or share this with a friend. And don't forget to join me for the next episode. Remember, there is always a way, and more blessings are coming your way. For free resources and show notes, head over to lucylucoaching.com.